A Mule's Journey to Self-Discovery and Identity, an analysis of Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God.
So, what I'm trying to get across in this presentation is to show how Hurston illustrates the immorality and inability to control things through the journey of a black woman persevering through a patriarchal and racist society. The literary overview for Hurston's time was the rise of drama, fiction, and literary criticism. It was also the emergence of modernism, which is the desire for departing traditional ways of looking at things, especially in American society. So the way this PowerPoint will be presented is through first analyzing expectations of humans in general, then to Janie, as well as analyzing the symbols and each of Janie's husbands and how they pertain to each one of those symbols. Expectations in general can really be destructive. We expect things of our partners that they don't expect of us. They expect different things from us. And humans' expectations in general could lead them to be unhappy or disappointed. In the beginning of the novel, Janie has certain expectations of what kind of man she'll marry. She thinks that he'll be Prince Charming and that they will leave a happy and full life where he will respect her and her identity, but unfortunately, men turn out to be the devil.
This is because men have a power complex and they feel a need to control everything in their path, most notably their women. And in a broader sense, humans feel this way too.
The horizon in the novel represents a masculine characteristic that men are able to follow their dreams and their aspirations with no constraints, and they don't think that women have the right or the ability to do the same. The pear tree in the novel represents Janie's desire for love and affection as well as sexuality. This is a sign of her maturity and her coming into womanhood and her awakening to wanting those things. Mules in the novel represent the African American race as a whole. They are the mules, the pack animals for the United States, the backbone, the work animals. And furthermore, women are the mules of African American male men. Hair in the novel represent a woman's freedom, especially that of a black woman, or Janie's. All throughout the novel, many men try to submit Janie and her freedom, and it's expressed through control of her hair.
The character of Nanny is a very cynical one. She lived through the American slavitude and saw atrocities happen to her African American brothers and sisters. She wants what's best for Janie, and she only sees what's best for her by keeping them in their gender norms. So she marries her off to an ugly husband that does not represent Janie's desire. And she only escapes Nanny's influence in this quote by Stephen Vici. Janie escapes her grandmother's influence when she runs away with Joe Starks. Janie prepares for a new phase in her quest, far from the restricted notion of selfhood imposed by her grandmother and represented in Killick's fence property, Casas Inias. So, Janie is married off to Logan Killicks, who does not represent her desire or sexual desire represented in the pear tree. Janie decides to pursue the pear tree and desire and meets an ambitious, handsome man, but he proves to be egotistical and controlling, and controls her by controlling her hair. When he dies, she feels that she is set free and has experience to find the right man.
Tea Cake comes into Jenny's life, and he seems to be the man that she was looking for. He does not attempt to control her. He tries to love her, and he embraces her freedom and identity. He represents the bee of her ripeness, but unfortunately he proves to be like all the rest, and their relationship is characterized by violence.
Tea Cake also tries to control Janie, unfortunately. He submits her, and rather she submits herself because she loves him. It's complicated. And during a hurricane, out of both of their control, TK gets rabies and she has to put him down. The hurricane in this story correlates with humans' inability to control things, how it's wrong to control and how to control anything is wrong, including a woman. It's wrong and it goes against nature, and whatever goes against nature can't be right. And with Tea Cake's death, Junaid Ahmed in an academic journal says, Tea Cake's death allows Janie to hold her paradise and dream for an impeccable love and independence. Janie is put on trial for Tea Cake's death in front of a white tribunal, notably mostly of white men and white women. She tries to explain her reasoning for taking Tea Cake's life, but the expectations of the white man to an African American female are not in her favor, and she cannot control her destiny, it seems. Still, Janie overcomes, and the story comes full circle with her friend Phoebe, and Janie confronts her trauma, and she comes to the realization that shedding every husband with a male complex is what's freeing to her, and she is able to come and embrace herself and her identity.
Janie's expectations of love through mutual respect were never attained, but through the faults of all of her husbands, she learns that what she needs out of life, her freedom and identity through breaking her chains of male dominance. That's my presentation. Thank you for your time.